And welcome to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network. We haven't had that many voices in a long time.
I know.
We try. Normally we have one or two guests, but we've got a studio full today and one more on the way.
You can be in the picture.
Come a little bit closer.
Come on in. You're pretty.
Anyway.
She's very beautiful in her beautiful.
Hey, scoot on over.
I'm Steve Levine. I'm executive publisher of Small Business Today Magazine.
I'm Barbara Davis-Levine, associate publisher, creative director, head writer, and editor, and whatever else of Small Business Today Magazine.
And it's our pleasure to co-host this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, pretty much at this time. Sometimes 4, sometimes 4:05, sometimes 4:10, sometimes 4:13, which it is today.
But you can rebroadcast it anytime you melt your butter.
And if you miss any part of this show, you can hear it on catch it on audio link on Premier Agent Magazine and Small Business Today Magazine Facebook pages, and the audio link, and then there'll be a video up within 48 hours. Isn't that right, Ron Coleman, MovieWhip.com? Indeed so, yes. Well, Steve Brown, grab a seat, bring it over here, and you can join in the fun.
You want to come over there?
Over this way.
Scoot on that. Go around the room.
Anyway, as you can tell, we're still just getting set up. But if you're not familiar with the magazine, let me clue you in. Small Business Today Magazine is a publication, both hard copy and online. Been in existence for 3 years. The centerpiece of the magazine is a cover story about some entrepreneur who's built a successful business practice on their own without a franchise or licensee scenario, and has become a role model for this and future generations of entrepreneurs. They're selected by a nomination and vote process by a Publishers Advisory Board member, and a unanimous vote by the 10 or 12 board members that we select. And it's a big honor. The qualifications for the cover have more to do with the quality of individual, their generosity back to the community, their inspiring story, as much as it has to do with any particular level of success. You can get a complimentary digital subscription while it lasts, probably just another 30 days tops before we start charging for it, at sbtmagazine.net or smallbusinesstodayMagazine.com. Either one will take you there. Our mission with Small Business Today Magazine is to educate, motivate, inspire, and empower.
Can we get closer?
You, the aspiring entrepreneur, small business owner, achieve your dream of big business success. Most small business owners start their business with a dream of it working for them, and so often it's the other way around, as it was for my own parents in upstate New York. Became slaves to their own business. It's one of the reasons we created this publication, and it's laid out the way it is with great editorial content that Barbara goes through with a fine-tooth comb. Anything that smells self-promotional.
Yeah, it can't be. There cannot be any infomercials. That is not allowed.
No. Unless you purchase a feature article, that's a whole other scenario.
That's one thing, but any editorial is strictly for the benefit of the reader.
This has been, as you've seen and heard, this has been a 6 weeks of hell and high water for Barbara.
Yes, right. We went through the high water first, now we're going through the hell.
The high water of 5 feet in Meyerland flooded out our home office, flooded out our home.
And your car.
And 2 cars. And, we have existed on the blessings of others, and it must be blessings that we have given other people. Barbara and I pride ourselves on the organizations and the charities and our not-for-profits that we seek out to help. We don't ask anything in return.
No, we just do it because one of the things over the 15, 16 years we've been interviewing cover honorees, whether it's real estate or just entrepreneurs in general, they all have one thing in common, and that's that they always give back. They're always looking to give back to the community. So I feel it's our purpose is to highlight local organizations, not-for-profits, that don't have the support of the nationwide organization. And so that's why we want to make those introductions of these other small little not-for-profits and introduce them to the local entrepreneurs that are the movers and shakers in Houston.
There is a direct relationship between an entrepreneur's generosity and their success. It may not come like a mouse click away. You make a donation, all of a sudden you're blessed. It'll come in God's time. And for Barbara and I, it came at either you look at the best time or the worst time. It was the worst time for us, but the best time it could have happened. And
We're blessed. We're blessed that we survived and our pets survived.
Well, you were worried about them first and foremost.
No, I was worried
about me. It was like, not women, children first. It's like pets first, and then family, and then you.
I was worried about you. He
first.
had the concussion, and he didn't know what was going on. He was just thinking, "Let's turn off the lights and go to sleep while the floodwaters are rising."
There's nothing I can do about electrified water. I'm not going anywhere. But anyway,
you thought about going in the water
Thank God
too.
for your wife.
Indeed. So anyway, we have been truly blessed in this last 6 weeks. It's been a challenge, day to day, leaving everything behind and not being able to get back in to get anything out of there, and not being able to tear anything out, and toxic mold, and just compounded one thing after the other. But it's I think it's how we reached out to others that has given us so many blessings. And
so many people
in
came
our
to
religion, we call it mitzvahs. And you do a mitzvah because it's the right thing to do, and not because there's any supposed to be return on investment.
That's right.
And one of the groups that we are very proud to represent is the World Youth Foundation.
Yes.
And we were blessed to be part of their brunch last year, and volunteered this year to head up a silent auction, which we didn't have a chance to do.
And
the things we had were floated away, so there you go. But we are proud to be media sponsor for this year. We're going to talk about their event coming up this Saturday, which is sold out.
Wow.
Now, but
that's a blessing.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is.
So let me introduce on my left, I guess the camera's right, Steve Brown. He's a board member of the
You'll have to take your mic and hand
World
it to him.
Youth Foundation. I'm going to do that, and then let him talk about himself. And Miss Trice Johnson, and she's one of the co-founders of the World Youth Foundation.
Right now, just the little vice president role.
Well, vice president, just small potatoes.
Small
just kind
potatoes.
of sweeps up afterwards.
The big stuff
or whatever
is Karen Franklin. That's the
big stuff. And Constable Alan Rosen, who's tied into this. So let me go ahead and start with Steve. I'll share the mic right here. You can't keep it, dog.
Oh, okay. All right, no problem. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Here, we'll hand it.
As soon as we could, so there we go.
Great.
And tell me how you got involved with World Youth.
Well,
And
first,
a little about yourself.
Well, good. And first, let me just also recognize Trice and Constable, and thank you guys for having us on so we can talk about the event a little bit this afternoon. The World Youth Foundation has been a big part of my development personally. I wasn't always 40. Okay, and so a couple years back, when I was just trying to find my way around in Houston, Karen kind of took me under her wing when she didn't have to. And she's always been like a doting mother or big sister to me. Sure. And so any opportunity that I can to give back to her now, I will, because I know that in large part of the things I've been able to accomplish has been in large part because of some of the things that she has allowed me to see. Because I think it's important for young people, and it's part of the World Youth Foundation's mission, is to make sure that young people can begin to visualize themselves in a position of success before that success comes. And too often, too many kids in low-income communities and low socio-economic areas, they have no one to pattern themselves after. And Karen, at a young age, gave me the opportunity to see what success looks like and to find some mentors in this community. And so I am grateful and indebted to her. A little bit about myself. I'm in public affairs, and so my background is in public policy and campaigns. I recently got off the campaign trail this past year, running statewide for Texas Railroad Commissioner, which, as you can imagine, is a pretty big state.
Yes. How did that do? How did that work out?
Well, we're about a million votes short. We got 1.7 million votes. My opponent got 2.7 million votes.
That's still a lot of people out there.
It's a lot of people, indeed. And if I could have gotten about 500,000 more to kind of, listen to us a little bit better, we would have done a little bit better. But it was God's will for me to be able to go out and see the state and talk to a lot of the folks in the state and find out what their issues were, not just for oil and gas issues, but public health issues and economic development issues. And so I know that there was something in that great journey, that fantastic voyage that I'll be able to carry with me moving forward.
That's it. I mean, even things that people consider maybe a failure, and it's really not a failure. It's a setback. It's a learning experience.
Yeah.
As long as you can take something negative and turn around and learn from it,
Absolutely.
and make something positive come out of it, that's
Yeah.
all that what it's about.
He
That's
did a
what's
great
important.
job campaigning.
Well, thank you,
You should
Constable.
be very proud of yourself.
Thank you, Constable. I
Really
appreciate
should.
that. Thank you.
So you came in as youth, or a young adult?
I was definitely a young adult at the time. I was an intern in City Council, and I met Karen then. And she has not let me go since. Karen has that ability.
We all have that commonality.
You ain't go nowhere. No, heck no.
How does one get their children involved in the World Youth Foundation?
Well, there are different ways. I know that one of our big programs is our incubator program, and that's something that I had the opportunity just about 2 months ago to go and speak to some of the kids in that program. And it's always a delight to see young people on a Saturday afternoon excited to learn new things and to meet new people. And it was a couple of old politicians, some candidates, and you would think that they wouldn't be so interested in hearing a couple of politicians talk. But I think I saw a couple of future mayors in that
Wonderful.
room.
Is that exciting?
So maybe 2030 or 2035, we might see some mayors come out of this program. But that's just one of the few programs that the World Youth Foundation has been able to put on, and they do a real good job in networking to other organizations and affiliate partners to make sure that we have that reservoir of young people to come in and be a part of these different programs.
Awesome.
That's marvelous.
Let's introduce Miss Trice, who's
Miss
a
Trice,
dear friend
right.
of ours, a dear heart, and so.
Pass the mic here, baby.
Sure.
And Trice, how long have you been involved with World Youth Foundation?
7 years. I understand the entrapment. I started out as a friend.
The friend. Oh, that's your first
A
mistake.
friend only.
There you go.
That was it. That was the way it was supposed to go. And then slowly it was, hey, can you help me with the baking? And then it was like, okay, I'll help deliver a cake. And then it came from delivering a cake to now, do a lot. My world now is this
Youth
organization.
Foundation.
Yeah.
I could help order a cake.
She made
Thank
it
you. But not make one.
Yeah,
No.
said
You wouldn't let her make a cake?
I had come from 3 generations of non-cooks, and the only thing my grandmother knew how to do was fry an egg, so she could show the maid how to do it. And we were actually one of the first people in Houston to get a microwave oven, and I told everybody now my mother could burn food in half the time.
Trice, she doesn't even know where the kitchen is, and the only one we have, only
'Cause it
reason
came
we
with the
have one in
house.
the house because it came with the house. Yeah.
You got
Al, you know what I'm talking about, Jay.
Danger zone, danger zone.
you guys are awesome.
JAP,
So yeah,
you
that's,
understand.
yeah.
And I've captured their queen. Yeah, thank you.
So that's the way it started, and then we, slowly. I started to my background. I worked for Microsoft, and then it became how is it that we can take the work that we're doing and involve Microsoft as a partner. So that started there, and from there we really looked at how is it that we could really bring in new skills and new capabilities to the organization. And so
You've seen it grow. Huh?
well, it's grown significantly. We brought so many volunteers from corporate to the table to really, when we talk about the gap, we know we have to do so much more than just STEM. We've got to have more compassion in the way that we're leading them to solving the most complex problems around the world. And so you and I will talk and chat a little bit more in a moment, but so looking forward to talking a bit more about the programs and getting a little bit deeper in what we do on our Saturdays.
I want to know more about World Youth Foundation and share it. Let's talk to Constable Alan Rosen. We've got about 2 minutes. About two minutes.
Sure.
And just about how you're involved, Constable, and about your.
Well, we're an
you grew up in
affiliate.
Ireland, Barbara.
Yeah,
by the way.
sure did.
I
sure
know.
did. I'm an affiliate partner. The
Okay.
Precinct 1 Constable's Office and I both embraced. Of course, Karen sucked me in just like she did everybody else there, and we love her
It's
to
like
death.
this vacuum.
It
of
really
support.
is. I mean, really. And in doing so, she told me a little bit about World Youth Foundation and what they do and what their mission is. And I attended a board meeting, and I became enrolled in the program. So what we've done is we're bringing a government partner affiliate approach to World Youth, and in doing so, we had a youth summit. Where we had 400 kids from 100 different high schools attend the youth summit, and the purpose of the summit was to bridge the gap between law enforcement and youth. I think far too often law enforcement really doesn't connect very well with youth, and so they were our big partner in bringing youth to the table so that we could educate the youth and we could more importantly, hear from the youth.
That's wonderful.
And
we're
really
going to be.
We got to go to a quick break.
We'll get some more about that.
And we're going to talk more about the World Youth Foundation, their upcoming function, how they support the community, and the programs they have to offer. So we're right back in a few minutes, and you're listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
on the SBTMagazine
Radio
Network.
Hello, I'm Paul Marcus, owner of Affordable Searches, your premier investigation company specializing in comprehensive background checks nationwide. Business owners know one of the most important things to do is the hiring of employees. However, if you make mistakes or you don't check them out thoroughly, this could lead to problems. Some of the problems may be unsafe business environment, possible violence in the workplace, negligent hiring, lawsuits, and a turnover of employees. Our website has a wealth of information for you to read and learn how to run the correct background checks. We are also available for free consultations at 1-877-685-6691. Visit our testimonials page to see what our current customers say about us.
And welcome back to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network. I bring these back just to do that. That was great.
I love it.
Anyway, once again, I'm Steve Levine. I'm the publisher of Small Business Today Magazine.
I'm Barbara Davis-Dean, Associate Publisher of Small Business Today Magazine.
Our pleasure to bring you this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, assisted by Jerome Davis.
On the keyboard, engineer extraordinaire.
That's right. And on the bass,
we've got, we got Ronald Coleman, MovieWhip.com.
And a lot of other people we have to thank later.
Yeah.
But what we do love doing most is introducing you to people that you need to know. They're columnists, they're board members for us, they're cover honorees, they're people write articles, and there are a lot of not-for-profits and groups who reach out and help those in need. And we love bringing on those people on the show because, again, there's a direct correlation between one's success and how they give to others and how they bless others. And we are. I
wanted to ask Alan a question. Are you still going?
No,
yeah. Can you
I'll let you know when I'm done.
Okay, give me a chance. You know.
No, you get a chance.
The show will be another commercial. But
no, it won't. No. But anyway, that's why we have World. Don't sign with her.
Jerry's holding up.
That's why we have. That's why we have World Youth Foundation with us today. So you want to ask your question, Barbara?
Yeah. We were talking about how making healthy connections between youth and those that serve the. What have you done? Have there been any specific programs that you could elaborate about what y'all done?
Well, we had this youth summit where we convened a panel of law enforcement officials, prosecutors, defense counsel, and counselors, and we let youth come to that, or they actually attended the summit to learn what to do when they encounter law enforcement. Oh. So we tell them, if it's night, to put your dome light on, keep your hands on the steering wheel. Before you reach for something, ask law enforcement. And more importantly, we heard from the youth on what problems they have with law enforcement. And so we sent out a questionnaire prior to the summit that talked about, are you positive about law enforcement? Are you neutral about it? Or are you negative about it? And we paired up those that had negative feelings about law enforcement with police officers so they could get to know them on a different level than where they encounter them on the streets. And so it was a hugely successful project, and we intend to have at least 2 a year at the constable's office. We also do a basketball tournament every year, again, where we bring in and partner with organizations like World Youth Foundation to just get kids to talk to a policeman when it's just not in a negative context. And we try to educate. And so we're working collaboratively with World Youth on many of these programs, and that's kind of what we're an affiliate partner for. I think they do great work. It's very important, the work that they do, because far too often we're also seeing our youth get tangled up in the criminal justice world. And my job as constable is to ensure that they don't. And so there are a lot of programs out there focused on youth and trying to help them clear a record if they have a minor record, which will kind of clear the blot on their record so that they feel like they have a real bright future.
Great.
That's wonderful. That's exciting. I know when I was little that I was taught if you have a problem, you go find a policeman, call for,
and we want that to return,
and that needs to come back.
It
That
sure
the policeman
does.
is my friend,
That's
and
correct.
they should be taught in the elementary school level that more. They used to have these officers that would go to the schools and talk and become heroes to them. And
Lee Brown created the community-oriented policing model that was used nationally. It is a model that works. It's proven that it works. When an officer gets to know the community in which they serve and protect, the better off there's an information exchange that goes on. We can solve crimes better that way. We can find problems in a community, and so all of these things are so important. That's why we partner with World Youth.
They have where I lived a long time ago. They started the Citizens on Patrol program.
Excellent program.
And I wonder if they could maybe bring the children involved in it. The youth on patrol. Wouldn't that be a cool idea?
So long as they're paired with an adult. Good.
Exactly. As long as they don't get involved, but be aware that they have an input in reporting something that doesn't look right.
I've had a lot of opportunities to hold town hall meetings, and education is first, and secondly, we have to really embrace children and bring them into the fold and educate them. It's all about education on what they can and can't do. And a lot of their opinions about law enforcement are derived from the officers who are embedded in their schools. And we need to provide better training to those officers on how to deal with youth in the schools. Because I don't want them to paint us all with the same brush, because we're not all the same. And I'm not saying school police officers are not great, because they do a great job. I just think there needs to be additional training focused on how to better engage youth and deal with youth.
Treat them as little people, little human beings, little people with opinions that should be heard.
That is correct.
Barbara and I reach out with entrepreneurship to children, because where are the next Michael Dells? Where are the next Bill Gates? Where's the next Mary Kays? They're in junior high, and they're in high school, and they may have an idea, but nobody thinks it'll work. And our magazines are full of those. We're told not to do it. It's a dumb idea. You won't do anything. Our Farouk Shami of Chi, $2.5 billion he's worth, was told the product coming out by Claire and L'Oreal. The product you do, we have no interest in, you're not be successful, and you might as well quit now.
Your free hair products and hair colorings.
Sometimes it's that boot that just gives you enough motivation.
So then when we think about what our program is all about on Saturdays, we really focus on building a co-generative dialogue and platform, because we have to learn from one another. So when we think about innovations and think about entrepreneurs, it's not just a matter of standing up and speaking. We actually place them in an immersive environment where the very first thing they do is in one of our workshops, they started with building a business plan. And to be honest with you, we start with kids at 6 years old. Wonderful. And what they do is they do storytelling. So we taught them how to design through storytelling. So then we'll give them a community problem to eliminate. It could be a pothole problem. It could be human trafficking. It could be the things that are really bullying. And they take the things that they see and they build a business and solve a problem around it. They're called innovation. It's kind of like a hackathon. And what we do is we take them and put them in these immersive environments. We will teach them how to build their own app. Then they have to come back and present in front of everyone. Wow. What does this problem that they're solving, what does that look like? And so that, I think, is what really makes this program highly unique, is that we don't just talk to them about STEM. We put them in an environment to tell a story about how they're going to solve problems that they have to be involved in every day.
And what's the age of these?
Wait, I was going to ask, how many children are y'all dealing with that are in this program?
In the beginning of the program, we have about 52 enrolled. That's probably our max is 60 kids. And then throughout the life cycle, about 30 to 35 will all come at one time. And so we group them in groups of 5, and all of these experiences are all hands-on. And so our max typically is going to be 60 kids.
And Steve had the question of the ages.
Age groups?
We start with 6 years old, so from elementary all the way, it's K through 12 technically.
Wow.
Teaching those entrepreneurial skills at such a young age is going to help them. Many of them learn what they can do to realize a business dream and to become entrepreneurs, and that's what drives America. are small businesses and people that have ideas that are able to get out and
you need to
do
know
something
they can, regardless of the challenges.
That's correct.
You've seen this evolve because, typically you don't have kindergartners or, someone in elementary. Sorry, I meant to say elementary school. We start with fifth grade. You typically don't see them in a room with a high schooler doing this kind of work. So what happens is we build a program around it. If we say that day we're doing Entrepreneur Day, they actually just draw. And so what we do is we get creative co-generating ideas from all, and then they come back together. And then sometimes that 5-year-old presents better than the 10th grader or that little story about love and what they want to do about that. But I think, have you seen that transformation from the time that you were involved to now and where the organization is headed as well, right?
Absolutely. And I think in listening to both your and Constable's presentation of how involved you are with the program, it just speaks to how holistic of an approach that the World Youth Foundation takes. And that's one of the things that, as a board member, because I have a lot of pressing needs. I have 2 little pressing needs in the lobby, and so for me,
they are adorable. They're so cute.
It's summer. But for me to dedicate time to an organization, I have to know that it's the right organization and it has the right approach. And I think that this type of approach that Karen and the World Youth Foundation uses to integrate different age groups and different skill sets and expose them to different people is exactly where I want to spend my time as a board member.
Do y'all ever do a program like an alcohol and drug awareness, like Shattered Dreams program? Has that ever been implemented?
Well, we have done alcohol and drug programs a lot in our juvenile justice division. And so we try to reach youth and talk about the things that we do. I also think, those programs exist in high schools, but to be supplemented by the World Youth Foundation is just another added measure that will help potentially save one or 2 or 3 if it saves one. And that's kind of the way I felt about our teen summit. If we reached one child out of that 400, the summit was a success.
I do DWI programs, and so that's why was my question. And I've spoken to some tough groups, and have had been told, hey, these are really tough kids. It was a Sharpstown High School event, and you could have heard a pin drop actually after I spoke, and so
the key is to get them before.
Right.
So organizations like this, we try to
and then
you have the other organizations that you were just talking about, Constable, that catch them in the midst.
And that's why I was wondering: is it a potential to do have you heard of Shattered Dreams, the program?
But I'm excited to go look
Well, the Shattered Dreams is a program where they enact where certain kids they were killed by a drunk driver. They bring a car that's been wrecked. They stage it. They bring the fire. They take them to Life Flight. The children watch. It's an all-night program. The parents write letters as though that what they thought of their child after they were dead. So it's a very meaningful thing that the whole group could participate in.
And that's something, not another program that we can put and add to taking them to something like that. So that's awesome. Yeah.
And this is how you asked the question about the evolution of the organization. This is how this evolution happens, because we take on the spirit of this founder who brings everybody in and looks to collaborate, and because of that collaboration, we're able to find new opportunities to provide new opportunities to these kids that we're trying to serve. And so the evolution is always happening because we're always engaging people and organizations.
Well, we're going to go to another break. But we want to thank, again, Ronald Coleman, MovieWhip.com. We have Jerome Davis on the keyboard. Craig Klein, Sales Nexus
for the use of the conference room.
CRM, and it's email marketing, Tony Noun, autoshopper.biz, and Paul Marcus at affordablesearches.com.
Some of our advertisers and the people who make this happen, but really you guys who tune in and listen to it in its afterlife with the audio and the visual.
Please support our those that support us. And
That's right. But we'll be right back after these messages, and you're listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.
At Affordable Searches, our mission is to provide our customers with the most thorough background check possible to protect you, your employees, and also your business. We do so by contracting with companies across the country that provide us with the best information possible and in a quick turnaround time. Our turnaround times average anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. Our pricing is very competitive, and we are always here for you. We're always here to answer any questions you have. Please give us a call at 1-877-685-6691, and we'll be glad to answer each and every question that you have.
And welcome back to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network. They've got it in cadence now. That's great. Anyway,
It took a few times.
the more you hear, the more that happens. So anyway, we are talking to some of the great people with the World Youth Foundation. They have an event coming up this Saturday, their annual brunch, but it is sold out. Sorry, it's
Totally sold out.
That's the way it is. But there are ways that we will tell you at the end of the show how you can help support it, not just their fundraiser, but all year long. That's right.
You know, I have a question is, do y'all want to see where more people can be helped? I mean, you have right now a maximum of 60 or whatever that you were saying, but is there plans to expand it even more? And how do you plan to do it, and what do y'all need?
Yeah, so we do a lot of, so let me say that's 60 Saturday. We partner like nothing I've ever seen. Our reach are hundreds of kids. We're even in Atlanta now with Ambassador Andrew Young, with the King Center, and working with kids there. And so we did a big event with kids at the Ambassador Young and Walter Young YMCA, where we took groups of about 80 kids on behalf of World Youth Foundation, and we took them through the first innovation, what we called a design hacking event, and it was the first, and we're working now in partnership with folks in Houston and Atlanta to deliver what we're calling National Game Sporting event, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. So we are completely submerged in so many partners.
Hacking?
Yeah, it's like where we bring kids together to spend literally about 4 hours going through designing their own idea and innovation, and help them with their IP. Cool. You know, working with IP attorneys that are there to help them get them through the incubation process.
You said to prevent hacking to occur. Is that what you?
You know, we call them hackathon. It's hacking ideas. And so a lot of times people think, there you go, my friend. Yes, he got it.
My children actually got in trouble for hacking.
We need to talk offline.
They were they were little, but they learned NASA did not want them going in people's emails.
Well, there we go. Anything else you want to add?
No, and I think that speaks to the efficiency in the way that our approach in finding partners that we can partner with, as opposed to trying to carry the burden all by ourselves. And I think that's kind of the smart way to keep us nimble, but also so that we don't burn ourselves out as well. And we want to make sure that the things that we get involved with, that we're able to see it from inception to completion and have it be a meaningful experience for kids. And we can't do all that by ourselves. And so
we're just recently, so next week or the week after, we partnered with the U.S. Navy. So that was a partnership through Microsoft. The U.S. Navy, I don't know if you remember when the spill happened.
Yes.
And then they had underwater robots that went in to help do the cleanup. Well, they have a program called Sea Perch Robotics, where they teach students how to build and pull together robotics. So we don't just, we're in the politics side, we're in the robotics. So next week they have a week-long camp, and they're coming to us. But then we partnered them with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with TWEF, which is the Trice organization, and they're going to be doing that. So that's a partnership where we were able to extend Microsoft through the Navy, through WIF, through a group of kids on the north side that never would have had an opportunity to build their first robot in a free program. So for us, it is absolutely important for us to make sure that we care about the entire community. It is not about WIF. World Youth Foundation is a conduit to be a blessing to kids across the nation.
And that's what's great about World Youth, is that they bring partnering agencies under the hub, and they have a seat at the table, and they all collaborate amongst themselves to try to figure out a way to help youth. And so if you bring enough players to the table, enough smart people at a table, and enough resources at a table, you tend to really accomplish a lot of great things. So there is no shortage of people wanting to get involved with World Youth Council, or not Council, Foundation.
No, you did it
I
this
did
time.
this.
He did it last year.
I never brought it up. I totally forgot.
Maybe we need to rename it. So
Don't worry, Karen. We don't need that. All right.
Foundation and
But,
counseling.
and so they really do bring a lot of partners. They brought us to the table. I think they're looking with it, My Brother's Keeper, and there's a lot of different players they bring around the table, and they collaborate, strategize on how to better serve and get our youth involved in a lot of great programs.
Yeah, there, because I forgot the name of the community center, but it's a non-for-profit community center over on the other side, Hope. I can't think of it, but they would be a great one because they work with the neighborhood children. So y'all can partner and help those groups like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we were just talking with Erica a few moments ago, and just talking about we have a private event for Microsoft that the World Youth Foundation is actually the way people get to us, because we don't just go out. So people have to go through the World Youth Foundation, sign up. They get a whole day. I mean, they eat from the time they get there, and if you know how we splurge, they eat from the time they get their lunch, but then we bring in the y'all are coming too.
Anything
We're bringing the whole family.
It doesn't look like you missed a meal.
Friday, August 24th. And we bring in an ice cream truck too in the building.
Steve's definitely there.
Friday, August 24th.
Will you give it up?
So let me tell you what we do. 100 kids. Then Microsoft employees bring their kids. We bring in kids from places that we normally never. We purposely seek out schools that don't have technology. Right. We bring them in. We teach them how to build games, so they build their own game apps. We teach them. They do a planetarium dome where they go in and they drive on Mars, the planet Mars. So it's all these interactive, super cool things. But we bring them in a room, teach them about cloud, right? Not the cloud that's outside now with the sun, but we really teach them, young kids about all of these opportunities. But then we teach the other side of it, so they get one full day through the World Youth Foundation, and that's the kind of thing. We even have camps coming up, for tech camps. So World Youth Foundation really does a great job of making sure that through, partnership, through the things that they do, that we turn on kids that the schools can't afford it, but we're not going to accept. It's actually called education hacking. It is a whole new experience that we're giving kids a second generation of a life that beyond school, they can come through programs through the World Youth so that they can have a level playing field from schools who are able to afford it. And that's pretty huge.
Are y'all providing any resources for the parents of these children?
I love that. Let me tell you what happens. If you were in that room, probably when you came, there was a class that we had one time called Project Management. Who would want to take a project management class? We pulled out spreadsheets. Kids that were 7 years old, right? I think that class started at 7. They were building a budget. The parents and the volunteers that were in the room started building budgets. We taught them financial forecasting, how to build forecasting models. We were teaching them all the terminologies and they were saying that they now are able to go back and go online to get certifications so that they can participate in a new field. And let me make this clear. The project management field is a $100 million industry. And there's a huge significant gap of what we call, it's not just minority, it's disadvantage, who don't have an opportunity in the oil and gas industry. And Houston is prime for that. But we have big gaps. So I think that we want to do more to where when people come, they're immersed in a family learning and knowledge and co-generative experience with learning.
Teaching children, just from an entrepreneurial standpoint, teaching children that a stick of bubble gum, the actual cost and breaking down what it took to manufacture it, package it, ship it, sell it, market it. Mm-hmm. And when you learn the whole continuum that goes through the business process, you really learn about money. You learn about managing budgets, just like you said. And so I can tell you that all of these skills will help children for the rest of their lives. And awesome. and I don't think they're getting enough of it in school. So organizations like World Youth Foundation certainly is a good stopgap for helping with that.
And when you talk to the parents and get the parents involved, you have the ability to kind of train the trainer in essence. And so when the kids leave us, and go home. Well, then mom or dad can utilize some of the same types of practices and exercises that we've done and continue that learning program, that learning effort.
That's right. Steve, that's spot on. Spot on.
That's why I'm on the board.
Smart people, great things happen.
There you go.
Now, and of course, there are some, sadly, the certain children that a lot of times they've gotten in trouble with the law, and their parents are equally non-existent, not in their picture altogether. Do y'all have any things that address that?
Those are our favorite. I thought your favorite. Those are my favorite. Someone came and said, "Who can you put into the program? Who qualifies? Do they have to have A's?" I said, I want the kids with the F. I love young men who would choose to go and think of how it is that they, first of all, our kids are starving. They're fighting to live. We have to fix that problem first. And so I think that if we address those things first and understand the state of where they're at, that, in my mind, I might want to go rob somebody with some tennis shoes first. I love those babies. Let me tell you why. You had a thought, you had an idea, you had an execution strategy, and we're hoping we can stop and turn it into something. I mean, high five.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about, is taking that youth that's at risk and teaching them a way to use all of that energy and skill for a positive thing.
Yeah, that's it, because they're
something that's going to really help them long term.
A lot of people in the prison system are very intelligent people, and they weren't just not directed the right way.
That's right. They needed a mentor.
Exactly.
And the world needs more mentors.
That's it. Well, we're a volunteer for that. We're always offering a mentor.
In any way we can help, you know that.
Love you.
That's right.
Especially young ladies. I love to teach young ladies that they can be strong.
I was going to tell you, you're going to be teaching at the next Microsoft event Friday, August 21st.
Wonderful.
All right.
Teaching a STEM, like a motivation.
That's great. Well, I
I hear your story.
Put her in the game, Coach.
I'm there. We're going to be coming right back. We want to thank again Ronald Coleman, MovieWhip.com, and also Jerome Davis. If you want to reach us, smallbusinessmagazine.com
or SBTMagazine.net. And time we give out some information on World Youth Foundation.
Yes, www.worldyouthfoundation.org. Very easy. Everything's out there. worldyouthfoundation.org.
There you go. And we'll be right back after these messages. And you're listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
on
the SBT Magazine Radio Network. Hi, I'm Steve Levine.
And I'm Barbara Davis Levine.
And we're with Small Business Today Magazine.
And Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show.
And we're at the beautiful dealership of AutoShopper.biz here at 15455 Kirkendall, just south of 1960.
And we are in front of a gorgeous, gorgeous XF Jaguar 2010. It's only $19,000. It is gorgeous. You can call if you want more information at 281-781-7025.
AutoShopper.biz. Everybody gets finance.
Marvelous place.
Gorgeous cars, great people.
Great owner. Very family oriented. This is Sheer and Tom and Noam and Ron.
Hi.
What do y'all think about the dealership?
I like the place. Great cars.
First time we've been here, the service is very good.
Excellent.
15455 Kirkendall, just south of 1960. And call us
281-781-7025. That's AutoShopper.biz.
And welcome back to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network. What a lively and great show we've had so far with World Youth Foundation.
Thank you.
And Constable Al Rosen. And it's just been amazing. We're looking forward to the Saturday event. Steve
Trice
Brown.
Johnson.
And Trice
And
Johnson.
me.
Trice has been a dear and generous friend, Barbara. She really has.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we have lovely guests over here that she's not in the picture, but she's.
But if you saw her top, you would actually want it. I love it. Isn't she beautiful?
Beautiful.
That's Erica. That's Erica Davis, my community outreach coordinator.
Erica Davis, community outreach person. There you are, Erica. And she looks like she could easily communicate with anybody in the community. As attractive and smart she looks.
Thank you, Ron.
Well, we have an area that we talked about that we didn't address. You want to ask that question?
Yeah, I was wondering if y'all could we could address the issue of how maybe World Youth Foundation could reach out, or if they're looking for a specific partner that they haven't reached, and maybe make a call out to try to see if we can get somebody involved that we're lacking, if you will.
Sure.
What you need.
That you need. That you need.
Well, and what I'll do is I'll start talking a little bit about, kind of the type of partners that we look for, and I'll let Trice kind of speak to where the gaps are and where we can fill them. But generally speaking, when we talk about the different types of partners that we're seeking, we're just trying to broaden our appeal to more people, and partners who are looking to broaden their brand to more people, because it's a two-way street. A lot of the folks that we work with are actually doing their brand a whole lot of good. In the meantime, they're also able to be a blessing to a kid that has a blessing in them, that in some cases is tough for them to figure out how to get their blessing out to then bless other people, and to keep that cycle going. And this organization is built to facilitate that cycle and to start it in some cases. And so for organizations that generally come from a spirit of wanting to bless others so that they can be blessings, this is the perfect organization to partner with.
That's right. And Steve couldn't have said it any better. When we think about opportunities for kids to shadow, so corporations that have, when you can take a kid to work day that normally wouldn't even have an opportunity to understand what manufacturing environment looks like, what the BMW dealership, just selling cars. We want to touch every aspect, so nothing's off the table, right?
Your corporate, you talked of course, your company, but what about companies, grocery stores? Do you have any support from any of them?
10 years, James Harris. I will tell you, but I think other people feel that way about him and the work that HEB does. First of all, if you go to the store over there off of Buffalo Speedway, it's like an exotic Neiman Marcus. Where I love shoes. Oh, it's beautiful. Those fresh orange juice. I love them. I could talk about them all day. They give us gift cards. They put the funding. So it's not just we need partners to give money. They are invested in our success. So when we think about that type of portfolio and people who throughout the year just care, right, beyond that, is that the
they
best?
They have a heart as big as Texas.
Yeah,
they do.
They do.
And so when we think about those kinds of partners, and then we have others that are coming to the table, we have Comerica. Comerica reminds me of another. Comerica does great things in the community with Vanessa. She's just absolutely phenomenal. The list goes on, and like this Saturday, we have an array. We have 2 startup tech companies we've never had before. One's a gaming tech company. They're going to do the keynote. Another one has a global high-tech company. Then when we have Rice Engineering Leadership Institute, we have the person that does the mayor's hackathons, Jeff Reichman. The list just goes on. The CEO of Molina Healthcare. The list is amazing this Saturday. And so when we think about that breadth of portfolio, where we could pick up the phone, call for an internship, call for a business to come out, even Karen is very heavy in the political community, and so the Democratic and the whatever, we don't care. Let me tell you, we're bipartisan. We love everyone. These kids have to see that type of love in every array in order for us to build the whole child. And let me tell you what this Saturday is all about. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rewriting the story. We're rewriting the story of the future of our next generation through compassion, intelligence, wisdom, and love. We've got to go back to, I grew up as a 70s kid. So love, that's all we knew. And so we've got to come back to loving these babies, building their trust and credibility, and learning from them. They know more than we do. As teenagers, as kids coming out the womb, they're smarter than us. Yeah. So that's the approach.
To a lot of information.
Oh, never seen anything like it.
That I know that it was a cool thing to get one encyclopedia. Like A through. Remember?
My parents would never answer a question. We had the World Book Encyclopedia. We paid for that encyclopedia. You're going to use it.
I know.
Don't look it up. Look it up.
I know.
Look it up with one word. Look it up.
I got so excited with Google and all these access to every question. There's information systems and the computer that there's none of the encyclopedias that could ever keep up with what's going on.
That's right.
So it is exciting, all that information, but with it comes responsibility.
And to me, people people were focused on STEM. Nothing wrong with that. Karen and I 100% believe, we call it STEM with a heart. Because if we can't get to the heart of a child, we can't teach them. If we can't feed them, I'm talking about not just food, physical food. If we can't fill their soul, the soul is the mind, it is the heart, it's the emotion, getting them emotionally excited, and it's the will. It's that combined. And we can't reach that, we shouldn't be here, because it's going to take that, all of us combined, to get to the soul of a child. They have to know that we care about them before they can learn.
Yeah, I mean, so many, because they don't see that there's any avenue out of their community or their situation, but to give somebody hope. That's the key, because they grow up to be adults that don't dream either, and so to teach a young one that they can dream and their dreams can come true. That's what it's all about, right?
My goal is to to put the juvenile justice system out of business.
Come on now.
So that's my perspective. So I mean,
can I do that? Can I say woo?
That's my goal. That's my objective, and I hope to fulfill that mission one day, because we have roughly, on average, about 280 kids locked up in juvenile detention right now, and so we're seeing some of the private jail facilities start reviewing some of these kids and predicting who their future prison population is going to be, and so we've got to reverse all of those sides. That's exactly right. And so World Youth Foundation is a springboard for allowing some growth and allowing for a child to be saved.
Steve, remember when you said earlier that it's taken this kind of dialogue? Because now you and I are going to have a separate kind of talk, right?
Let's do it.
And that talk is going to be that we are going to do more for these babies that are in juvenile facilities. We've got to get to them before they, and it's what your point earlier about the DWI, before they get there. So, hey, I love the work you do.
Thank
so
you very
excited.
much. Thank you.
I have a friend that actually, she's wonderful. She's adopts the world. Like, I'm taking care of the one little kitty. She has 187 animals, and she's in Needville, and everything flooded, and how she's taking care of it. But she's taken youth that were in prison and giving them jobs in recycling pallets. And she's giving the child care for the single mothers, the little teenagers. So she's helping them. In turn, it's helping to fund this animal reserve that's protect all these animals that have been injured, rehabilitated. So she believes that you help everybody.
You do.
And so we need more programs, and we need to help my friend Gloria with her thing to develop that program, because that's what she's got, all this acreage, and she's trying to do her one-man show of helping people.
And often kids just don't, they have to start something and they have to finish it to know that they can.
Exactly.
And that small task, and once they realize that they can finish something successfully, then they can start stepping it up to higher and bigger things, and being an entrepreneur, being somebody that really wants to be something. That's exactly right. That's right.
All you got to do is believe.
That's it.
And
believe.
regardless of their challenges, I like to think that if there's a victory, there had to be a battle.
Yep.
And when you see what we like covering in the magazine, the story is that the challenges that should have really shut them down, and we look for the backstory. That serves as incentive for everybody. When you're told you can't, you're stupid, it's not going to happen, you don't have the money, you don't have the education, that's a success story. And regardless, skin like a rhinoceros and totally focused and ready to stand out on the edge. Every child has the opportunity to do that.
And Steve, let me tell you, there are plenty of those stories where people that have come with those odds that have become successful. That's right. So it can be done. The road has been paved, and they can do it. Just as she said, as long as you believe.
And you know what I love? You came back. He
was sucked in.
He was sucked in. Long term.
That's it. But that's the investment that we make in the kids, right? I mean, it's not that they go to a program every Saturday, but that those kids then become a part of this web of a community that's looking to help rewrite everyone's story, give them an opportunity to rewrite their story, so they can then become who they were born to be, and the world needs them to become who they were born to be.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I always get amazed. I go to a nursery and you see all these little brand new infants, and any one of them could be anything. Nothing is determined. just because you're brought up on the wrong side of the tracks does not determine that that's going to be the outcome. That they each of them have the same potential. I mean, maybe somebody's got a learning disability, but there's ways. Well, there's a will, there's a way. Mm-hmm. And if we can catch them so early that they, just say anything's possible. Yeah. And that's how I was brought up. My mother said she believed that if I thought I had wings to fly, I could do it. She believed in me.
Right.
And that's why I've always never questioned myself. But we need more parents like my mother that taught a child that whatever you dream, you can do.
And sometimes their disability is their strength. And we have to be able to teach them that as well.
That's right. That's awesome.
We only got about a little over a minute left, but I want more on World Youth Foundation, how to get involved,
Sure.
How to sponsor, how to contribute time, energies, etc.
You got it. So 2 things. Number 1 is if you have a student or child or children that are interested in being in the program, September 12th. Write that date down, September 12th. That's when we start our year. We're on fiscal, and so that's our FY16 program, and we're going to kick it off at. And so go online to www.worldyouthfoundation.org. You want to say it with me? worldyouthfoundation.org. And so if you can do that. All the information that you need is there. Our partner information, and you can reach out to us. We answer on demand. Super excited about the 2 of you and all that God has in store for you. Don't we love you?
Put us in the game more, Coach. We'll do more.
We are. You're already doing more.
Empower the youth.
You're already doing more.
Looking forward to Saturday's event. Sorry it's sold out, but that's a good thing.
It's a very good thing. And what did you say?
For a larger venue next year.
You with that.
And thank you, Steve Brown, board member, and Trice Johnson.
Thank you.
And Constable Al Rosen.
Thank you.
Alan Rosen, really from Meyerland.
That's right.
Thank you.
And been a great show today. We thank you for tuning in. There'll be an audio link on Small Business Today Magazine Facebook page, as Premier Agent Magazine Facebook page, and then the video within 24 to 48 hours on all our social media. And it's time to go, and you've been listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
on the SBTMagazine Radio Network.